My name is Zoe. I am pregnant, and I am alone. I remember the day I found out. My hands were shaking. I looked at the little plastic stick. It had 2 pink lines. 2 lines. It meant a baby was coming. A tiny life was growing inside me. My heart was beating so fast. I felt scared, but I also felt happy. A small smile appeared on my face. I was going to be a mother. Mark was my boyfriend. We had been together for 2 years. I loved him very much. I thought he loved me too. I wanted to tell him the good news. I wanted to see his face. I wanted him to be happy with me. That evening, I cooked his favorite dinner. I put candles on the table. I wanted everything to be perfect. He came home from work. He looked tired. He did not notice the candles. He did not notice my smile. "What is all this?" he asked. His voice was flat. "I have something to tell you," I said. My voice was small. I was nervous. I took a deep breath. "Mark, we are going to have a baby." I waited for his smile. I waited for him to hug me. I waited for him to say he was happy. But he did not smile. His face became cold. His eyes became dark. He stood up and walked around the room. He did not look at me. "A baby," he said. The word sounded ugly coming from his mouth. "No, that is not possible." "It is," I whispered. "I took a test, it's true." He stopped walking. He looked at me then, but his eyes were not the eyes I loved. They were the eyes of a stranger. A cold, angry stranger. "I don't want a baby," he said. The words hit me like stones. "Not now, not with you." My heart broke. It felt like it cracked into a million pieces. I could not breathe. Tears filled my eyes. I did not understand. I thought he loved me. I thought we were a family. He went to his jacket. He took out his wallet. He pulled out a lot of money, a thick stack of bills. He threw it on the table. The money landed next to the candles. "Here," he said, "take this. Go and fix the problem." The problem. My baby was a problem. His baby was a problem. The words echoed in my head. Fix the problem. He wanted me to get rid of our baby. I looked at the money. Then I looked at him. I did not recognize him anymore. The man I loved was gone. In his place was a monster. "Get out," I said. My voice was quiet, but it was strong. I was surprised by my own strength. "Zoe," he started to say. "Get out of my apartment," I said again, louder this time. He looked at me for a moment. He saw the look in my eyes. He did not argue. He took his jacket and he left. He did not say goodbye. He did not look back. The door closed, and I was alone. I sat at the table for a long time. The food got cold. The candles burned down. The money was still there. It looked ugly. It felt like poison. I cried. I cried for the man I lost. I cried for the future I thought we had. And I cried for the little baby inside me. My baby. The one he called a problem. The first few days were a blur. I did not go to work. I did not answer my phone. I stayed in my small apartment. The world outside felt too loud, too bright. My world was dark and silent. I did not eat. I did not sleep. I just sat on my sofa and looked at the money on the table. It was a constant reminder, a reminder of his words. Fix the problem. Sometimes I felt so angry. I wanted to scream. I wanted to throw the money in his face. Other times I felt so sad, a deep, heavy sadness that filled my whole body. I felt empty. I felt lost. I put my hand on my stomach. It was still flat. I could not feel anything yet. But I knew my baby was there. A tiny little person. A part of me. A part of him too. But he didn't want it. I thought about his words over and over. Fix the problem. He wanted me to go to a clinic. He wanted me to stop being pregnant. The thought made me feel sick. How could he ask that? How could he think that our baby was just a problem to be fixed? I looked at the money again. I could use it. I could go to the clinic. I could fix the problem. My life would go back to normal. I could forget Mark. I could forget this whole nightmare. For a moment, I considered it. The thought was tempting. Life would be easier. I was so tired. I was so alone. Maybe it was the best thing to do. But then a small thought entered my mind. A little voice. It was quiet, but it was clear. It's not a problem. It's a baby. My baby. I stood up. I walked to the table. I picked up the money. It felt cold in my hand. I walked to the trash can. I held the money over it. I wanted to drop it. I wanted to throw it away, just like he threw me away. But I stopped. I needed money. I did not have much savings. My job at the coffee shop did not pay well. If I was going to do this alone, I would need money. But not his money. Not this money. I put the money in an envelope. I wrote his name on it. I would send it back to him. I did not want his help. I did not want anything from him. That small decision made me feel a little stronger. It was the first step. I was choosing my baby. I was choosing a different path. It was a scary path, but it was my path. I knew I could not do this completely alone. I needed to tell someone. I needed help. I thought about my mother. She lived in a small town a few hours away. We were not very close. She was a simple woman. She had her own life. I was scared to tell her. I was scared she would be disappointed in me. I was scared she would judge me. For 2 more days, I held the phone in my hand. I wanted to call her, but I was too afraid. What would I say? Hello, Mom. I am pregnant and my boyfriend left me. It sounded so terrible. It sounded like a failure. But the loneliness was too much. The secret was too heavy. On the 5th day, I finally pressed the call button. My heart was pounding in my chest. She answered on the 3rd ring. Hello, she said. Her voice was familiar. It made me feel like a little girl again. Mom, it's me, Zoe. Zoe, how are you, dear? You haven't called in a while. I know, Mom, I'm sorry. I have something to tell you. My voice was shaking. I started to cry. I could not stop the tears. "Zoe, what's wrong? Are you okay?" she asked. Her voice was full of worry. Through my tears, I told her everything. I told her about Mark. I told her about the baby. I told her about the money. I told her he called our baby a problem. I told her how scared and alone I felt. When I finished, there was silence on the phone. A long, long silence. My heart sank. I knew it. She was disappointed. She was angry. I waited for her to scold me. I waited for her to say, "I told you so." But she didn't. Instead, her voice was soft. It was gentle. "Oh, my sweet girl," she said. "You are not alone. I am here." And then she said the words that saved me. "I am coming to you. I will be on the next bus. Just wait for me." I cried again. But this time, they were tears of relief, tears of gratitude. I was not alone anymore. My mother was coming. My mother arrived the next day. She carried a small suitcase. Her face was full of worry lines, but her eyes were full of love. The moment I saw her, I ran into her arms. I hugged her so tight. I felt like a child again, safe in my mother's embrace. She did not say much at first. She just held me. She let me cry. She stroked my hair. Then she looked around my small, messy apartment. The dishes were dirty. The trash was full. She sighed. "First," she said, "we will clean this place up. A clean home helps to clean the mind." And that's what we did. We spent the whole day cleaning. She washed the dishes. I swept the floor. She opened the windows to let in the fresh air. Slowly, the apartment started to feel less like a prison and more like a home again. That evening, she cooked a big pot of soup. It smelled wonderful. It was the same soup she used to make for me when I was sick as a child. I ate 2 big bowls. It was the first real meal I had eaten in a week. We sat together on the sofa. She held my hand. "Tell me everything again," she said, "from the beginning." So I did. I told her about my love for Mark. I told her about our dreams. And I told her about the cold, hard look in his eyes when I told him about the baby. She listened patiently. She did not interrupt. She did not judge. When I was finished, she squeezed my hand. "That man is a fool," she said simply. "A coward. He does not deserve you. And he certainly does not deserve this baby." Her words were like a balm on my wounded heart. She believed in me. "But what am I going to do, Mom?" I asked. "I don't have enough money. This apartment is too small. I don't know how to be a mother." "Hush now," she said. "We will figure it out. One step at a time. The most important thing is, do you want this baby?" I looked down at my stomach. I placed my hand on it. "Yes," I whispered. "Yes, I do, more than anything." A smile spread across her face. "Then that's all that matters. You will be a wonderful mother, Zoe. I know it. You have a strong heart, just like your grandmother." She told me stories about when she was pregnant with me. She told me how scared she was. She told me how my father was so nervous. He fainted in the hospital. We laughed. It was the first time I had laughed in a week. It felt good. "You are my little miracle," she said, her eyes shining. "And this baby will be your little miracle." Her visit changed everything. She stayed with me for a week. She filled my small apartment with love and hope. She helped me see that this was not the end of my life. It was the beginning of a new one, a different one, a harder one for sure, but a beautiful one too. After my mother went back home, I felt stronger. I still felt scared sometimes, but the deep sadness was gone. I had a purpose now. I had to take care of myself. I had to take care of my baby. I went back to work at the coffee shop. My boss was a kind man. He understood when I told him I needed to take it easy sometimes. My morning sickness was bad. Some days, the smell of coffee made me want to be sick. But I needed the money, so I kept going. I started to look for a second job, something I could do in the evenings. I looked in the newspapers. I looked online. It was very difficult. Nobody wanted to hire a pregnant woman. I went to many interviews. They would smile politely, but they would never call me back. The rejection was hard. It made me feel like I was not good enough. It made me feel like the world was against me. Some nights, I would come home and cry. I would look at my growing belly in the mirror and whisper, "How are we going to do this?" My apartment was very small. It was just one room with a tiny kitchen and a small bathroom. It was fine for one person, but it was not a place for a baby. I needed a bigger place, but a bigger place meant more money. And I did not have more money. I felt overwhelmed. The problems seemed so big. They were like giant mountains in front of me. I did not know how to climb them. The fear came back. The feeling of being alone returned. My mother was far away. I had some friends, but they were busy with their own lives. I did not want to be a burden. It was during this difficult time that I met Mrs. Gable. She was an older woman who came to the coffee shop every morning. She always ordered the same thing, a black coffee and a croissant. She would sit at the same table by the window. She would read her book and smile at people. She had kind, gentle eyes that crinkled at the corners when she smiled. She often said hello to me. "Good morning, dear," she would say. And I would say good morning back. But we never had a real conversation. One morning, I was feeling very sick. I tried to hide it, but my face was pale. I felt dizzy. As I gave Mrs. Gable her coffee, my hand was shaking. She looked at me with concern. "Are you all right, dear?" she asked. "You don't look well." I tried to smile. "I'm fine, just a little tired." She did not look convinced. She put her hand on my arm. Her touch was warm and comforting. "Sit with me for a minute," she said gently. "There are no other customers right now." I was surprised, but I was so tired, so I sat down at her table. "Tell me what's wrong," she said. Her voice was so kind. It was like talking to a grandmother. I don't know why, but I told her. I told her everything. The words just poured out of me. I told her about the baby. I told her about Mark leaving. I told her about my money problems. I told her how scared I was. She listened to everything. She did not say a word. She just nodded and looked at me with those kind eyes. It felt so good to tell someone. It felt like a heavy weight was being lifted from my shoulders. When I finished, I felt embarrassed. "I'm so sorry," I said. "I shouldn't have told you all that. You are a customer." She smiled. "Nonsense," she said. "We are all just people, dear. We all have our struggles. You are being very brave." Her words meant so much to me. She didn't pity me. She said I was brave. The next day, when Mrs. Gable came in, she was carrying a large bag. After she finished her coffee, she brought the bag to the counter. "This is for you," she said. I looked inside. The bag was full of baby clothes. Tiny little sweaters, soft white onesies, and small, colorful socks. They were all beautiful. Some of them looked brand new. "Mrs. Gable, I can't accept this," I said. My eyes filled with tears. "Of course you can," she said with a warm smile. "My grandchildren are all grown up. These clothes were just sitting in a box in my attic. They need a new home. They need a new baby to keep warm." I started to cry. A stranger was being kinder to me than the baby's own father. This small act of kindness felt like a miracle. It gave me so much hope. It showed me that there was still goodness in the world. From that day on, Mrs. Gable became my friend, my coffee shop friend. She would come in every day. We would talk. She would ask me how I was feeling. She would give me little pieces of advice. She told me about a community center that helped single mothers. She gave me the phone number. Her friendship was a gift. It made me feel less alone in the big city. It made me feel like someone was looking out for me. With this new hope, I felt re-energized. I stopped looking for a second job that made me miserable. Instead, I started thinking about what I was good at. I was good at baking. I always made cakes and cookies for my friends. They always said they were delicious. So I started a small baking business from my tiny kitchen. I started small. I baked cookies and sold them at the coffee shop. My boss was happy to help. He let me put a small sign on the counter. "Zoe's homemade cookies." At first, only a few people bought them. But slowly, word started to spread. People liked my cookies. They started asking for cakes. Birthday cakes, celebration cakes. My little business started to grow. I was still working at the coffee shop in the mornings, but in the afternoons and evenings, my apartment was filled with the sweet smell of baking. It was hard work. I was on my feet all day. My back ached. I was always tired, but it was a good kind of tired. I was building something for me, for my baby. My mother was so proud. I would call her and tell her about my progress. She would give me her recipes over the phone. With the extra money from my baking, I started to save. I opened a special bank account. For the baby, I called it. Every dollar I earned went into that account. It was not a lot, but it was growing. It was my independence fund. I also started preparing for the baby's arrival. I couldn't afford a bigger apartment yet, but I could make my small space beautiful. My mother came to visit again. Together, we painted a corner of my room a soft, sunny yellow. We bought a used crib and painted it white. My mother taught me how to knit. We sat together in the evenings, knitting tiny socks and a small blanket. As I worked on these small projects, the baby started to feel more and more real. I started talking to my belly. "Hello in there," I would say. "I'm your mommy. I can't wait to meet you." One afternoon, I felt it. A tiny flutter. A little kick. I gasped. I put my hand on my belly. It happened again. A definite kick. My baby was moving. I laughed out loud. It was the most amazing feeling in the world. From that moment on, I never felt truly alone. I had my little companion with me always. My belly grew bigger and bigger. I was in my 7th month. I felt happy. I felt strong. I was going to be a good mother. I knew it. One day, I was walking home from the grocery store. The bags were heavy. I was walking slowly. And then I saw him. It was Mark. He was across the street. He was walking with a woman. She was beautiful. She was laughing at something he said. He was smiling. A big, happy smile. The same smile he used to give me. My heart stopped. For a second, I could not breathe. All the pain came rushing back. The hurt, the betrayal. It was like a knife in my chest. Then he turned his head. He saw me. His smile vanished. His eyes widened. He looked at me. Then he looked down at my big, pregnant belly. His face went pale. He looked shocked. He looked scared. He quickly looked away. He grabbed the woman's arm and pulled her into a store. He disappeared from my sight. He ran away. Again. I just stood there on the sidewalk. People were walking past me. The city was loud around me. But I was in my own silent world. I thought seeing him would break me again. I thought I would fall apart right there on the street. But something different happened. I felt a strong kick from inside my belly. As if the baby was saying, "Hey, I'm here. Don't be sad." I put my hand on my belly. I looked at the store where he had disappeared, and I felt nothing. The anger was gone. The deep sadness was gone. All I felt was a strange kind of pity for him. He was running away from the best thing that ever happened to him. He was missing out on this incredible journey. He would never feel this little kick. He would never know this amazing love. In that moment, I knew for sure. I did not need him. My baby did not need him. We had each other. And we had a life filled with love from my mother, from Mrs. Gable, and from the community I was slowly building. I turned and walked away. I did not look back. I walked home to my small, cozy apartment, to the yellow corner waiting for my baby. I was not the same scared girl he had left behind. I was a mother, and I was strong. The last few months of my pregnancy went by quickly. My baking business was doing well. I was able to quit my job at the coffee shop. I could now focus on my health and preparing for the baby. Mrs. Gable still visited me. She would bring me books about babies. We would drink tea and talk for hours. Then one rainy Tuesday morning, it started. The time had come. My mother was with me. She had come to stay for the birth. She held my hand. She told me to breathe. Mrs. Gable drove us to the hospital. She waited outside in the waiting room like a nervous grandmother. The labor was long. It was hard. It was the most difficult thing I have ever done. There were moments when I thought I could not do it. But my mother was there. She was my rock. "You are so strong, Zoe," she kept saying. "You can do this." And then, after many hours, I heard it. A loud, beautiful cry. The most beautiful sound in the world. The doctor placed a tiny, warm bundle in my arms. I looked down. It was a girl, my daughter. She had a full head of dark hair. She had tiny, perfect fingers. She opened her eyes and looked at me. And in that moment, the whole world changed. All the pain disappeared. All the fear, all the struggle of the past 9 months, it all melted away. All that was left was love. A love so big, so powerful, it filled the entire room. It filled my entire soul. Tears streamed down my face. But these were happy tears. "She's beautiful," my mother whispered. Her own eyes filled with tears. I held my daughter close. I kissed her soft cheek. "Hello, my little miracle," I whispered. "I'm your mommy." I decided to name her Hope, because that's what she was. She was my hope. She was the reason I kept going. She was the reason I found my strength. Life with Hope was not easy. Being a single mother is a lot of work. There were sleepless nights. There were days when I was so tired I could barely think. My baking business kept me busy. Money was still tight sometimes, but my life was so full. It was full of Hope's giggles. It was full of her little smiles. It was full of cuddles and baby smells. My small apartment was no longer quiet and empty. It was filled with life and laughter. My mother helped a lot. Mrs. Gable became a permanent part of our lives. She was like a real grandmother to Hope. She would take her for walks in the park. She would read her stories. Our little family was small, but it was strong. It was built on love. Sometimes I think about Mark. I think about that night. I think about the money he threw on the table. He told me to fix the problem. He thought my baby was a problem. I look at Hope now. She is sleeping peacefully in her crib. Her little chest rises and falls. She is so perfect. She is so loved. She is not a problem. She is my greatest joy. She is the best thing that has ever happened to me. He did not break me. He made me stronger. His cruelty showed me my own courage. His absence made room for new love to enter my life. My journey was hard. There were many dark days. There were many tears, but I learned so much. I learned that I am stronger than I ever imagined. I learned that kindness can come from unexpected places. And I learned that the love for a child is the most powerful force in the universe. If you are listening to my story and you feel scared or alone, I want you to know something. It's okay to feel scared. It's okay to cry. But please know that you are not alone. You have a strength inside you that you have not even discovered yet. Life can be hard. People can disappoint you. They can break your heart. But you can heal. You can build a new life for yourself. A beautiful life. A life filled with love and happiness. You can do this too. Whatever you are facing, you can get through it. Just take it one step at a time. One day at a time. Don't be afraid to ask for help. And never, ever give up. Keep going. Your miracle is waiting for you.